Sure, Buffet too. Uh, I'm back again with another video. So, I reacted to a few videos today. Kata bayana ya makwerekwe. So, I've been saying to you guys, there's a concerted effort, there's an agenda that we are watching unfold. Um, and this is really sad because I don't see the fight in us. I know we're overwhelmed, but Skalebala, it was the youth that fought and protested against apartheid in 1976, and they sacrificed their lives for us to have the freedom we have today. So there can be no excuse for us, Kajen, who are living softer lives than well, there's a middle class has emerged, which has allowed us to have a little bit more wiggle room in terms of fighting against these things. And on top of that, we also have the right to vote. But at the end of the day, we can still do something, guys, as opposed to do la fela and to allow this to continue to take place. Check actually the last time, guys, there's an agenda to replace Black South Africans with foreigners, particularly foreigners from Africa, illegal foreigners that are coming here and stealing jobs and opportunities and overwhelming our medical fields and infrastructure, just overwhelming our systems overall, and taking the place of South Africans, opportunities that should be going to Black South Africans, uh, people from Zimbabwe and all these other countries, Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, they're being preferred for work. It's deliberate. White people, when they do this, they're hiring these foreign nationals who are illegal in the country in order to cut costs so they can maximize their profit. That's one thing. Yes, money is one factor, but the other factor is to replace Black South Africans, because white South Africans, they they know that they don't really have a future in South Africa unless they bend the knee to the will of Black South Africans. They know they don't have a future in this country unless they bend the knee, because we're not going to allow white privilege to continue in South Africa. We're not going to continue to allow this economic, um, this sort of lopsided economic advantage that white people have in the country to continue. That they have because of apartheid. So you can't on one end say that apartheid and all these colonialist colonization was a war against humanity, and then on the other end enjoy the fruits thereof. Doesn't make sense. You can't admit to a crime but then still enjoy the benefits of the crime that you committed. Doesn't make sense. So there has to be some kind of not retribution, but redress, which is what we're working on right now. And thankfully, we're doing it through conversations, which I don't agree with. We're doing it through conversations and sitting down and trying to negotiate and trying to have peace talks and all this kind of nonsense that white people don't believe in. They will never, white people cannot exist in a society where they're not at the top, where they're not exploiting labor. They cannot exist in a society where there's equality. They cannot. They refuse to. So for white people, it's not about them just having an all white country, or no, it's about them having that, but having a working immigrant workforce, a slave workforce. That's how they founded the white establishment. White society is founded on the back of slavery. So they need ways uh, to rebrand the same concept, which is to marginalize other races and make them form the working class, to work for them as slaves. White people believe in this. Their entire identity was founded, their entire industrialization was founded. It was built on marginalizing other races, subjugating them, subduing them, right? Using their military prowess to bully people into slavery. This is all they know. You guys refuse to accept white people for who they are and what they are. You're talking about let's talk to them, let's sit down, white people cannot exist in a society where there's equality, guys. They cannot bow down to black people. They cannot live in a society where we all have equal rights and we must all humble ourselves in order for us to get along. They cannot do it. And they refuse to do it. So all of these peace talks, guys, it's going to lead to nothing. White people are not built to function on a level playing field because they can't. They always have to rig things to their advantage and rig things in their favor. They cannot allow for a fair competition. So for them, without slavery, without marginalizing other groups, they cannot function fairly in a peaceful and civilized manner. They don't know what civility is. Don't be fooled by the urbanization. Urbanizing does not mean you're civil. They're just sophisticated animals, savages, really. Nothing more. And they're given way too much credit in the world by other racist nations that look up to that, how they built their industrialized world. It's shameful. You shouldn't be proud that you civilized yourselves on the backs of slavery. That's like I said, we are different from white people, and we are to tie into my topic today, we are different from African foreigners. Yes, you guys are foreigners. We are not the same as you because you guys don't understand the spirit of Ubuntu. You go to people's countries to cause havoc and destruction and to commit crimes. Why? Because you know that our government supports you guys and that our government is trying to use you guys to replace us, and you're taking advantage of that. That's xenophobic. That is xenophobia. You're destroying the lives of Black South Africans. That's xenophobia. So right now, what's happening? I said it in the last video, guys. There is a deliberate plan. White people don't want to engage Black people in any kind of physical war or violent confrontation because of how it's going to look. Remember, these are the same people that oppressed us for 400 years and that started a regime called apartheid in 1948, where they gave themselves massive economic advantages. I mean, it didn't just start there. There was also the Land Act of 1913, which displaced Black South Africans further, even further, where they stole land and made it legal. You see, white people, they make their criminality legal. They make it part of the legal system so they can get away with criminality. That's why they're never viewed as criminals, even though what they're doing is unjust. So they just make it legal for them to get away with doing unjust things, if that makes sense. And I keep telling you, the playbook of white people is the same. It repeats. They're repeating the same strategies that we've seen throughout history. There's nothing new that they're doing. What we're seeing right now is that they are replacing Black South Africans. Why? Because they're tired of us fighting for our rights. They're tired of us reminding them of the past. They're tired of us bringing up the inequality that they obtained through apartheid and 400 years of colonialism. They don't want to be reminded that they had to cheat to win. They don't want to be reminded that they had to cheat to gain an advantage and that they are scared of equality. They're scared of everybody starting at zero, starting on a level playing field. This is why they don't want to entertain things like redress. This is why they're so violently against any type of legislation that tries to bring about equality and make up for the injustices of the past. So you cannot on one end say that apartheid is wrong, but then be against redress. That's a contradiction. If you're against redress and you're against any legislation that is designed to try to correct the wrongs of the past, it means you don't find what happened in the past as something that is wrong. In other words, you agree with apartheid. If you have a problem with reparations or redress or any form of redress, it means you support the previous regime. You think that that was fair. You think it was okay what happened. Because how can you admit to committing a crime, even if you say it wasn't you, as your ancestors? The point is you have been given an advantage because of criminality. So if you are really shameful of what was done to give you an advantage, you would give it up. It wouldn't even be a discussion. You'd be handing it over and saying, no, we shouldn't be in possession of this land and all these resources. They should be evenly distributed amongst the South African public. That shows that you actually have some sense of shame because of the advantage you've been given, irrespective of whether you were involved or not. You cannot say, I was born after 94, so I don't know anything about. No, that's bullshit. You are still in possession of stolen goods. So you cannot say you feel bad about what happened in the past while still benefiting from it. You cannot call it a crime against humanity and acknowledge that it was wrong and then still benefit from it. How does that make sense? You are happy to continue benefiting from something that you yourself are saying, but this was wrong, and we don't want it to happen again. But you are benefiting from it currently. So what nonsense is that? You must pick a side. If you say that apartheid was wrong and 400 years of conquest was wrong, then give up all your assets, give up everything you have obtained, because the advantage you have right now in South Africa as a white person is because of those injustices. Land and cattle was stolen. Wars imposed on the people of this land. And then you try to rewrite history and lie and say that you arrived at the same time as the Bantu people. So you must denounce all of these things. The way to show that is give up everything you have, hand it over. Tell the government, tell the people in your communities, we are regretful. We don't want to be in possession of stolen goods. We are regretful because of what happened. You cannot say we're sorry about what happened and then continue to benefit from it. Why people have become richer since 94 than they were during apartheid? Think about that. Why? Because wealth can become exponential. If you're investing and doing the right things, that wealth will just continue to become exponential and it will never go away. It doesn't just disappear. They're just handing it down from generation to generation to generation. While we're sitting hoping that the population or the fertility rate will decrease or something, like they'll somehow lose. No, it's not going to happen, guys. And they're going to keep, anyway. Let's get back to the point of the video was to highlight the fact that I'm trying to show you the playbook. You guys need to understand that this is not accidental. When you are just upset that Nigerians they're doing this and taking our jobs and they're selling drugs, and you have to understand this is a part of a bigger criminal syndicate from, yes, the white ruling class and the black bourgeoisie, because I told you they are working together. The reason white people don't have a problem with the ANC in power is because the ANC is also in bed with the white ruling class of South Africa. They're in bed with these people. What they really want is for a white government to take over again from the ANC, and that's what they've been working on. White people never gave up power. They always had a plan to give it to the ANC, whom they bought and paid for. They bought and paid for these leaders. And of course, these leaders went back and started, the way they've been stealing money so blatantly. And also, white monopoly capital exposing that through the media to create this this brand of black people being corrupt, even though white people are the corrupt ones. They just make it legal to do corrupt things, and they keep it on the down low. See, white people always just function using their power and their economic power and judicial power. They control the law, they control the economy, so they can get away with criminality and nobody bats an eyelid. But they're always out to try to expose black corruption, black criminality, as if that's our brand, even though we saw these things from them. It's their system. Black people see these things from white people and they're like, white people are getting away with it. So then they do the same, and all of a sudden, black people, black leadership, this. It's a racist agenda to basically try to say black people cannot lead and that black people are too corrupt to lead. So when they talk about the ANC, I told you, ANC means blacks. That's what they mean when they say. In fact, ANC means kafirs. That's what they mean. When they say the ANC is doing this and the ANC doesn't know how to do this and the ANC is too incompetent, what they're saying is kafirs are incompetent. That's what they mean. Guys, just because you say apartheid is over, the law is now changed, that doesn't mean the races disappear. They still want superiority over you on your own land. They don't disappear. They're still living amongst us. They're still teaching their children racism. They're still teaching their children the wrong history, deliberately lying to them, right? To make sure that these kids are willing to die for this land that they stole. Okay? This indoctrination is hidden behind things like culture, like what's happening with Afrikaans culture. They say, no, it's our culture. What is your culture? Your culture literally was born out of racism. Your culture was born out of the idea of separatism. We haven't moved past it because you are still implementing it. That's why you want to make Orania a sovereign state. It's the idea of separatism. That is racism. That's apartheid. Apartheid means separate. So they are upholding the same. They are not regretful. I keep trying to tell you guys that these people are not regretful for the past. They're not. But it was a strategy to quote unquote hand power over to black leadership to watch it fail with their assistance because they don't want any reform or redress. Listen, anything that the ANC makes a law about or says that they're going to do or any promise they make is merely cosmetic. The ANC is not in the business of changing black people's lives. No, they are there as a placeholder for the white government. And they're slowly trying to transition to bring in the NP government, which is the DA. I told you, all white people do. White people, guys, I, I don't know how to make you guys understand that white people don't change. Listen to what I'm telling you. I know you have white friends, so you think, but my wife. Listen, if it came down to it, if the chips were down and they had to pick a side, every single time they will pick the white side. If it came down to it, they will pick the white side and denounce whatever friendship you think you have with them. Whatever friendship you think you have with them, you're delusional enough to believe that these people have pure hearts and good intentions. That's how we got colonized the first time. And you guys don't want to learn from it. Guys, just read your history on Europeans and white people in general and their conquests. They always come in the name of peace. Please just read, do your own research and understand how these people function. They disarm you by making you believe in unity. They don't believe in unity, but they make you believe. Hey, let me remove this because I'm cooking. Let me just remove this, lady, so I'm gonna come back because I'm supposed to be reacting to videos to try to highlight something that I've been mentioning to you guys several times, that it's not by accident what's happening with illegal foreigners in the country. They're destroying this country. White people are destroying this country. The white ruling class in particular are destroying this country using illegal foreigners. Why? To inflame the situation, the tension between black South Africans and black Africans. Why are they doing this? Because white people don't want to have the tag of going to war against black South Africans. It's gonna look bad. It'll look reprehensible because they've already colonized the country. They already had apartheid. They already continue to enjoy privileges from the fruit of apartheid. No redress. There's been no reparations. At best, they were given a slap on the hand with the TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, but no actual recourse was taken against the crime against humanity, which was apartheid. They just got a slap on the wrist and they were allowed to keep everything, the land, the property, the possessions, and continue on building on the wealth that they got during a crime against humanity, which makes no sense. You cannot say, let's have unity when you have such a lopsided advantage that you gained unfairly through unlawfulness, through corruption and unlawfulness, and then say, why don't you just want to move on? Apartheid is finished. No, you are still enjoying the benefits. We cannot move on, and we won't. You are enjoying the benefits of something that has been deemed a crime against humanity. And we will not stop fighting for our economic freedom, because you've given us a symbolic kind of freedom through this sort of political freedom, which doesn't have that much power. Guys, you have to understand that this system we're functioning in is created by white people. It can listen to me carefully. I'm gonna try to. All right, this system that we're living in is the white man system. It is not designed to give black people freedom and liberation. As long as you are in this capitalistic white system, where they're the ruling class, where they're economic and military bullies, it's just a rebranding of slavery. Let me give like an analogy of what this is, right? Before, it's like somebody coming into your home and holding a gun to your head and telling you, you can't go outside this door or else I shoot you. Okay. So you live your life in perpetual fear because of the danger that you can see in front of you. It's before your very eyes. So that is a form of enslavement, because you feel like, well, I'm trapped. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm limited to only being able to express my life within the parameters of this system that has been created. But this system is not designed for you to be fully liberated, as in you cannot go outside. So what the slave master then says is, oh, look, hey, we're giving you freedom. You guys voted and you won. Yay. And I told you, all of these, these electoral bodies are incredibly corrupt. There's vote rigging. It happens, guys. It's real. Do you think white people are just going to hand you over power that they obtained through war? Think about it. They obtained this through wars where people died. And you think they're going to give you the country with all its industrialization that they take credit for, right? Which was built on the backs of slaves. Do you think they're going to hand that over to you, no strings attached, and say, okay, you guys won fair and square through an electoral vote, and now we must step down? That will never. You must be gullible and naive to think this. It will never happen like that. White people obtained this through bloodshed. They got it in blood. And for you to take your freedom back, you must get it in blood. Please understand. All of this, oh, we're civilized, there's no need for warfare today. That only works if all parties are agreeing on diplomacy. But you're asking white people to give up things that they stole. They're not going to just hand them over to you. Please understand this. They will not hand it over to you. They're not going to just give it to you and say, it's all square now. Let's start from scratch. No, they're not going to do that. Why? Because the way they obtained it and the way their forefathers obtained it was through what? Violence. I keep telling, people don't want to be, this is the problem. We have so many educated PhD people with degrees and talking about, yeah, we must sit down and have diplomatic relations with the guys. It means you don't understand life. You don't understand the jungle that is life. You don't get it. If you think everybody's playing by those rules of like, let's sit down and have diplomatic. No, this is why there's NATO. This is why European countries have come together to make sure that they can protect themselves. This is why people sign deals to be associated and have allies in case there's a war. Why? Because we do have soft wars going on all over the world. Bullying tactics. And like I said, let me finish that analogy, right? You're in the house, there's a slave master holding a gun to your head. You can't do this, that, and the third. All right, you can't go outside. So you're restricted in terms of the expression of your life. You're beholden to whatever structures this slave master has put in place. And in a way, is dictating how you can live your life. Okay. Now he says, hey, you're free. You say, oh, I'm free? You say, yeah, you're free. He, the slave master, walks out the room. He walks out the door. Okay. Now, you're allowed to go outside. There's no gun to your head anymore. Okay. But every time somebody walks outside, something bad happens to them or they disappear. It starts to look spooky, like some kind of conspiracy. Like, hold on. They said we're free, but as soon as this guy tried to walk out the door, he disappeared. No one's holding a gun to your head anymore. Yes, they're saying no, guys, you're free. Do whatever you want. But you walk outside, you disappear. So what does that do? Now there's this fear that, okay, basically they're saying we're free, but in reality, we're not. Because now they've got some type of sort of proxy system where a white man doesn't have to hold a gun to your head anymore. People walk outside and disappear. And it could be a black person that's making them disappear that's been hired by the white man because the white man is still holding economic power. Guys, it doesn't matter how much somebody says, yes, I believe in equality, unless that person gives up their economic power so that we're all on the same playing field, then that person is lying to you. Because that economic power gives him the ability to still enforce racism and apartheid. He can just hire the proxy government to oppress you. They can just run it remotely. And this is why the economic power is one of the biggest things that we have to obtain. And remember, during the negotiations at CODESA, the apartheid government said, you guys can have, or white monopoly capital said, you guys can have political freedom, but the land and the minerals belong to us. In other words, That the reason they said this is non-negotiable is because the crux of the oppression comes from what the muscle economically, your economic muscle. That's the crux of the oppression. The power really comes from what you're able to do economically because they've entrapped you in a system, an economic system that doesn't allow you to have freedom. And because they control that economic system, they're basically still dictating your life from a distance while making you believe that you're free. So you don't have, guys, we're living in apartheid 2.0. It's just the neo-colonialist, neo-apartheid era where they've just rebranded it. As long as white people are still holding on to the economic power, it tells us that they are not ready for unity. They are not ready to be seen as equal to other South Africans. They are still celebrating the victory of apartheid and the victory of colonialism. They're holding on to it. It's a trophy that they will not give up because in their minds, it wasn't wrong. They believe that they won wars and they conquered fair and square. That's how they see it. So for you to say, let's unite, they don't want to unite. They will say yes to buy your face. But in principle and practicality, when it comes down to the hard decisions, they're going to protest and call it reverse racism. When you talk redress, they will talk reverse racism. To show you, like, that's the sign. If they won't give that up, if they won't allow for the facilitation of redress, if they won't allow it, because they're saying, but we want compensation, which is the same thing. So you still want the economic advantage. In other words, you still are saying that this was not wrong. You're still bragging, you're still hoisting this trophy around and say yes, because the wealth is their trophy for colonialism. The economic power is the trophy of colonialism. They will not give that up. And that shows you that they don't want redress. They don't want reform. They don't want a new South Africa. They don't want a rainbow nation. You black men have convinced yourself that you can obtain these things and negotiate and speak to them enough until they say, yes, we all want the same thing. No, we don't all want the same thing. What they want is to maintain economic power, which is a form of slavery over the marginalized people that they've enslaved. And because of that economic power, you will, listen, as a black person, you will forever work for whites. Future generations of black South Africans will work for whites, and it will go on and go on and go on, and it will never end. It will not stop. It will never end. So white people only want to talk unity if they're on top economically, because then they can control how things go. And that's not unity, that's not equality. That's capitalism, right? That's preying on the vulnerable, right? So white people can still call the shots. He's still boss. We don't call him boss anymore, but he's still functioning like boss. He's the boss. He calls the shots. He controls the money. You need money to survive, right? So they put you in a system where you need this money to survive. Okay, come and work for me. That's like, how is that different from slavery? That is slavery rebranded. You guys drank the Kool-Aid. You fell for it. Oh man, they got you. You guys fell for it. You guys fell for the rainbow nation and unity and multiracialism and let's come together. How are we coming together when white people are still economically on top of everyone else? That is still slavery. We haven't freed ourselves entirely from these shackles. I'm trying to show you that stop believing the brainwashing of the unity and coming to, no, everything boils down to this economic system that must be destroyed. This current political system, listen to what I'm saying, must be destroyed. You see Traore with Burkina Faso, in 2022, they ran a coup, took over the government through a coup, through military means. That's how you're supposed to, and then you must function under a dictatorship for some time to bring back everything that you guys were dispossessed of. So you must repossess everything under a dictatorship, for a benevolent dictator who cares and loves these people and cares about these people. Then if the rest of the white people agree with this and they say, okay, we support this, yes, there must be equality, then okay, then you guys are fine. You can stay. You can live among us. But you no longer have the economic advantage anymore. You don't have the wealth backing you anymore. It's a level playing field. And if you're fine to live in a society like that, you're more than welcome. But not this thing of imposing white privilege on us and forcing us to accept your terms of slavery on us. And then when we refuse to accept it, you say it's reverse racism and that we don't want to unite. It's manipulation. Now, with my videos, I always have to give you the background first. I have to give you the context before I land, right? Now, I'm painting that picture for you so that you understand that this is the context of the country that we live in. We've been duped into believing, tricked into believing that because the ANC is in charge, bought and paid for politicians, cadres, bought and paid for, they know they can't change a fucking thing. So they're just there stealing money, stealing and stealing and stealing. They cannot change anything because we are still under apartheid rule, just with black faces now. So those motherfuckers don't care about anything that has to do with the people because they know that they can't change anything. They know who their sponsors are. They know they've been given shares and given opportunities that they've now given to their cadres and their families and their friends. They understand that the ruling class, apartheid government, the white British colonialists are still running the country. But all these black politicians wanted was a piece of the pie. That's it. They're not there to change anything because they know it cannot be changed through the current political and economic system. This current political and economic system is rigged in white people's favor. Please understand this, guys. You're not going to change anything by functioning. Continuing to function in their system is basically falling into their trap, voluntarily and willingly allowing yourselves to fall into their trap. The trap is to believe in multiculturalism, multiracialism, unity coming together. No, how is it coming together when you guys have the lopsided advantage that you gained through something that had been deemed a war against humanity, a crime against humanity? You must pick a side. You cannot be beneficiaries of a war against humanity and then say we're the new South. It's not new. This is just rebranding. Guys, stop buying, stop eating this fucking bait, dog. Please, man, wake up. You see, the youth of the apartheid era, they were about some shit, man. They were fighting for their futures. Look what our youth currently is doing right now. And it's not that I'm not blaming the youth because they've been set up for failure. They are being set up to be degenerates. So they are pushing these. Listen, your role models in society cannot be the entertainers. If entertainers and athletes are your role models, that society is doomed. Look at Black America. Black America has been, they put a battery on their backs to self-sabotage, to make them sabotage themselves. And they went on enough to completely crash out. Black America doesn't stand for a fucking thing except just getting money through fucking either rap music, selling drugs, killing people. Even when they get onto YouTube and play, look at the kind of videos that they're making, the kind of culture that they're promoting. Absolute degeneracy. It's twerking, it's drinking, it's clubbing, it's doing appearances, getting a bag, it's doing pop the balloon, fucking. I mean, it's just showing ourselves in the most undignified ways. It's a deliberate ploy because white capitalists dangle this carrot to say, hey, you want this money? Make your people look bad and we'll give you this money. That's where brand deals come from. Guys, you got to understand the current economic system that white people have created is all about pushing white brands. That's it. That's where all the money is. The brand, the companies, right? These corporations are like countries. They function like countries. They bypassed the idea of your own sovereignty in your nation. They bypass that by creating companies that infiltrate your country. They collect data from you. They influence the culture in your nation. And over time, you start to see the degeneration of your youth, the degeneration of the family structure. That's all we're seeing when white culture comes into your society, right? Through their brands, through their technology, through their apps. The idea is to destroy that society. They never bring any innovation that makes our lives better. They bring innovation that continues the stronghold that they have over society and makes you more dependent on them. And all that's happening is that life is one big advertisement for big corporations, big white corporations. That's all life is. Listen, everybody that gets into the entertainment industry just wants to be a corporate slave. They understand they're signing up for it. And if you're black and you're trying to get into this world, you know that you have to sell a white product for a white man, a white boss that's going to tell you, hey, we need you to sell to the black market. So you have to sell your people out so that they can sell this product, whether it's an alcohol brand or clothing. China just exposed all these luxury clothing that you guys like so much. Just exposed them. All these luxury things that you guys like, that you feel give you status because you don't have the enough self-esteem and self-worth in yourself, in your culture, in your people, for you to not need validation from the white world. A broken society. But I keep emphasizing this innovation that they keep bringing into the world is for the purpose of destroying the family unit, the family structure. That makes it easier for them to control people because you don't have any type of structure in the family to help protect the children from what they're being exposed to on the internet and with advertisements. Guys, advertisements are like you cannot avoid. Everything in life is adverts, and that's what's influencing society. I'm trying to tell you. You go online, you try to make a presence for you. It's all advertisements. That's how people get paid. Those are the people that have the money, and they own a monopoly, an oligopoly, multiple oligopolies that just control everything. All the biggest brands have all the most money to push the biggest advertising campaigns and make it. It's just mass propaganda. You cannot even avoid it. You walk outside as billboards, as this, as that. Everything is digital now. Everything is. I mean, we're overwhelmed. You watch sports, it's just advertising. You go onto the internet, advertising. You try to watch YouTube, advertising. You go onto anything, Instagram, advertising. You go into a restaurant, advertising. Anything that has a screen. You go into a cab, they got screens there at the back, advertising. Oh my gosh. This is like, guys, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. There's just you open your eyes and there's a screen in front of you selling you something. I want you to think about this. Anytime you open your eyes, you're being sold a product, you're being sold a lifestyle, a brand that white people control and own. These companies have so much money, they rival countries. That's how much power and influence they have. And they're using these black entertainers to sell out, to influence the black community negatively. Look at what we watch on television in South Africa. Absolute nonsense. Everything that depicts black people is in a negative light. They've destroyed the family unit, completely disenfranchised us in our own country. And we believe we're winning because they gave us a bag. This is black culture for you. We think we're winning because, oh, they paid us to sell our society out. Guys, the political and economic structure needs to be brought down. We must destroy capitalism. We must destroy this monopoly, the stronghold on people's minds. People can no longer think. People can no longer breathe. You are bombarded with propaganda constantly. And then you go to school, same thing. You're bombarded with propaganda. You walk outside of school, bombarded with advertisements. All pushing white culture, white culture. And white culture is basically, like I said, puts a battery on your back to make you self-destruct. You destroy your own community and your own people and your own society. Guys, it's by design. I'm trying to tell you, there's no future in a country that believes in a white capitalistic system. It's designed to keep white people at the top and everybody else as slaves. But you guys don't want to understand it. So, like I said, you have to destroy the political and economic system because by design, it keeps white people at the top and everybody else at the bottom. Okay, all right. So we understand that, right? That's some context. I'm moving into the actual thing now. Now, what we are seeing in South Africa right now is that white people don't want to get their hands dirty by engaging in any kind of physical. So what they want is a situation where they make it look like black people provoke them to where now white people must defend themselves. Right? But what they truly want is to genocide us. They want to wipe us out and just replace us with other black Africans who are coming from dire poverty and that will work for peanuts. Why? Because white people cannot live in a society where they're not able to exploit different races, particularly black people. They cannot. They don't see themselves as equal to blacks. They see themselves as superior. So therefore, black people must work for them. So now when you have black South Africans, right, that are exercising their rights, that have a voice, and that are saying, we want apartheid to end fully. The entire thing must come to an end. They say, oh, no, 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 no. We can't allow equality. So let's just replace them with other blacks who are impoverished. Give them opportunities, and then the population over time will start, that new immigrant population will start replacing the black South African population. That's the plan. They're bringing them in. I'm telling you, there's a syndicate. It's a criminal syndicate. They're bringing them in by buses, by taxis, truckloads of them. They're deliberately bringing them in the hundreds and thousands, hiring them, giving them a higher acceptance rate into our schools and universities. Why? These black desperate immigrants will form the new population of black South Africans that will replace the native black South Africans. This has happened throughout history. Look at the Native Americans in America. White people just will ship people in to replace the natives. Will ship people in to replace the native population. We've seen this time and time again. But when it happens to them, look at Europeans now making it tougher for Africans to enter into Europe because they say, we don't want to be replaced in our own country. When Europe does it, it's okay. But when it happens to us, we're labeled as xenophobic again by white-controlled media. White-sponsored media will say black South Africans are being xenophobic because they want us to take it, to sit down and just take being oppressed in our own land, in our own country, and to have no voice. We are watching this happen on a daily basis. I'm telling you, if we don't stand up and declare war, listen to what I'm telling you. The apartheid government, they didn't even have weapons. They were just making petrol bombs and causing all types of havoc. The problem with us is that we bought into this white system so much that we are now dependent on it for our self-esteem. Guys, shut the fucking country down. Shut everything down. The ANC is ignoring. Think about it. There's been multiple protests about illegal immigrants. The ANC is not doing anything. They're not even addressing it. The GNU is not even addressing it. They're busy there with the budget. While white people are trying to push Cape independence. You got a British guy who's not even a South African, a white British guy pushing for Cape independence, trying to get people to sign petitions so that the Western Cape can break off and be its own country. You got Oranje, they're trying to set up their own. I mean, guys, it's a lot. We're being attacked in so many different ways. So they're keeping us busy with the black immigrants while they're pushing for independence and sovereignty and basically doing the Berlin Conference again, trying to divide chunks of South Africa to belong to them, controlling key ports, strategic ports, because South Africa plays a very important geopolitical role in the world. White people understand this. So they have to create a destabilization in the black community enough to allow them to get away with what they're doing because they have economic power. White people don't have to wake up and go to work, guys. They've got all the time in the world. The ruling elites don't have to wake up and go to work. They've got all the time in the world to do. They've got enough wealth built up, enough money to push their agendas against us while we're trying to go to work to survive. I'm telling you, you guys believe too much in this capitalistic system. Shut this fucking country down. Shut it down. Stop playing along. Stop playing along with the capitalist system. Stop it. Stop going on with this as if it's okay because we are at war. This is what black South Africans don't seem to understand. We are currently in a war. But it's a soft one because you don't see it. Remember, white people can't just outrightly declare war against us with the history that they've had of oppressing blacks. So what they're doing is a type of soft war. It's a systematic oppression. White people don't change. They're pushing the same agenda generation after generation after generation. There's no new generation that's going to come and be different. They're all the same. Guys, come on. Wake the fuck up. We have to shut this. You are too in love with your job. You're too in love with your salary. You're too in love with this education you're getting. And here's the thing, we've become so individualistic as black people. And it's not that we become this way. We've been made to be individualistic. to try to save our own asses, to save ourselves. As long as I'm good, I don't give a shit about the black community. They can take care of themselves. This is how white people want us. It's the divide and conquer mindset. They don't want us coming together as black South Africans because ideologically, we're very different from the other Africans. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there to get us to ideologically agree. But as black South Africans, we've worked incredibly hard to be as united as we are culturally. We're marrying interculturally. We don't have any problems as far as culture as black South Africans. We're good. Whether Umtsonga, Muzulu, Mxhosa, our ancestors have worked really hard to bring us together. So we have to continue this momentum and further unite to fight against what's going on right now because it's coming in multiple different angles. And we have to be strategic. We know we've got the Xhosas and the Zulus at the coasts, the coastal areas. We know inland, more Basotho, Botswana, like that. We have to be strategic about how we're approaching this conflict because we are in the middle of a war. So what white people have done historically is they replace the native population with immigrants. They bringing them in by the fucking truckloads. Now we hardly see Native Americans in America anymore. They've been completely replaced. White people came, replaced them with the slave workforce of immigrants that will work for peanuts, and those formed new populations. Now they're trying to kick all of those people out. Now that they've used them to industrialize themselves, this is what white people do. They use these illegal immigrants to industrialize themselves, and then when they get to a point where they feel like, okay, we're happy with our society, now they get a Trump-like president to kick the immigrants out and complain that there's too many of them. You brought them in as slaves to industrialize yourselves. How dare you complain now? Guys, come on, it's the same playbook. Wake up. This thing with the illegal foreigners is not going to stop. The president, your own government, is ignoring a crisis. Why do you think they're ignoring it? They're ignoring it because this is part of the white man's plan. And it has been all along. White people use the same playbook. Just study history, you'll see they do the exact same thing. Look at the Australian Aboriginals. The Aborigines, they've been almost completely wiped out and replaced. That's what white people do. They come into your country, they invade your country, right? They use you as slaves to industrialize. They bring more people illegally on ships as slaves to work and industrialize, and they form the labor force that keeps them at the top. And then when they're done with you, they kick all of these people out and say, okay, we've had enough. Too many foreigners now. We only want millionaires and billionaires to come into our country. That's what Trump has done now. Same playbook. You guys don't want to see it. Maybe I need to make a video like this every single day to keep emphasizing and highlighting the strategy so that it can become clear to you guys what's going on and why we have to stop playing along. Listen to what I'm saying. Stop it. Get off social media. Stop posting soft life in Gucci, Versace, Ferrari, Land Rover, Lamborghini. Stop playing into the hands of your enemy. You guys are destroying yourself. The youth, stop playing into the hands of the enemy. Start reading history and understand what's going on in your country. You guys do not have a future if you continue on like this. You're imitating Black Americans. Your accents are all changing. You're trying to live like them and get a bag like them and get jewelry like them and go clubbing like them and drink alcohol like them. Degeneracy and take drugs like them. Just pure degenerate lifestyle. Next thing you guys are gonna start doing gang wars and killing each other and beefing the same way that Black Americans have done. I'm warning you guys. Our youth in 76 said enough is enough. We're not going to go to school. We're going to protest. Yes, they lost their lives, but because of that, the older generation realized, man, if the young people are willing to fight this hard and put their lives on the line, how dare we sit in hiding? I'm telling you, revolutions are staged by young people. But young people, you have to listen when older people give you guys counsel and advice and let you guys know this is what's happening and this is how we all have to respond. I'm not just saying go throw yourselves in the front line. I'm saying everybody needs to wake up to what's going on and we need to all hit the front lines. Enough is enough. So the game plan right now is to just replace the native population with an immigrant workforce. So when you see all of these Black Africans coming in talking about it's one Africa, don't fall for this bullshit, bro. These guys that are talking about, oh, it's one Africa, when white people are done using these same people's, them and their children, they're going to tell them, go back to your countries, it's enough. When they've used you and finished with you like they did in America, they're going to say, go back to your countries, we don't want you anymore. So they're going to use these black immigrants to wage war against black South Africans. Why? Because white people don't want to get their hands dirty. They already have a reputation for being racist, right? And being colonizers. So they can't risk, unless there's a direct attack from which they're waiting for. They're ready for the black population to attack them so that they can retaliate in self-defense. And when they massacre black South Africans, it won't look as bad because they can say, well, we were a minority group, we were being attacked, so we had to defend ourselves, right? Like they've made many threats like that, even in Oranje, to say, we're fully equipped for anybody that wants to try to challenge us and come into our private property. They've given hints that they are ready for war. And I'm trying to explain you guys that there's no unity that's going to come about. Just look at history. White people, they don't unite with black people and people that other races that they seem or deem beneath them. They don't. They come into your country to invade and take control. That's what they do. They use companies now to do it. Before, they would just come with guns. Now they've got apps, they've got Starlink, all of these things that collect data so that they always 10 steps ahead of you. So you cannot do anything secretly and wage war against them without them knowing. They will know before it even happens. And what's happening now is that Africa is being divided, it's being split up. You got the West and you got China fighting for Africa. You guys, I wish you guys anyway, that's why I made this channel. I will show step by step what's actually going on. And I know YouTube doesn't want to push my content, obviously, because I'm telling the truth and I'm telling it raw, and they don't like that. So you must share these videos. You must share them. Share the link. Let everybody know. And even if you don't share, just go tell other people. It's not about me trying to get big on YouTube. I'm just trying to spread this information so that we can equip ourselves and understand that we're in the middle of a war. So, like I said, white people are not willing to get their hands dirty unless we strike first. So they're going to use black immigrants to make tempers flare in the country. And as black South Africans, we can clearly see that we're being replaced. And what that is going to lead to is violence. There's going to, listen, guys, I'm telling you, we will not finish this year. Let me put it like this. I'll be surprised if we finish this year without a war erupting between black South Africans and the rest of the black foreign nationals that are coming in illegally, that are being sponsored to come into the country illegally, open spaza shops, all these different things. These people are being sent here to destabilize South Africa. They're being sent by the West. They're being sent by white monopoly capital to destabilize South Africa. And you guys are out here talking about unity and peace. You guys don't get it. They're going to use these foreigners to destabilize us. Tensions are going to flare up to where it's going to get physical. And guess what the whites are going to say? You see, black people can't get along. Black people are divided. Black South Africans are xenophobic towards other blacks in Africa. And they're going to label us that to make us look like we're hypocrites for not wanting apartheid. They're going to say, look, black people want to be separate from their fellow brothers and sisters. They want separatism. They are racist. This is apartheid. Why don't they want other black Africans to come in? And they'll say things like, these other black Africans, they've got children here. They're going to school here. You can't just kick them out. You can't deport them. They've already parted. You see, it's going to get to a point now, it's too late. They're putting them, the women are coming here to give birth. They are working to give them citizenship, right? And on top of that, they're doing it legally and illegally. They're getting ID cards, matric certificates. They're getting degrees to get jobs in South Africa, all under our noses. This is happening under our watch. All the government systems are corrupt. Why? It's deliberately so. You got Zimbabweans and Nigerians running the underground syndicate of getting documents illegally. Any type of document, you can get it from Home Affairs, anything. And they've got the DA minister there running things deliberately, strategically, because they're in support of black people being replaced. And ANC is in cahoots with them. They're creating this false beef and false rivalry between the ANC and the GNU. How can there be a beef between these people and they're in bed together right now? They're in government together right now. There's no fucking beef between these people. They're working together. The beef is for you guys. It's like when rappers create a beef just so they can get more traction, more views, more eyes on what they're doing. That's all. The ANC and the GNU are working, and DA are working for the same white ruling elites, the same apartheid ruling elites. They're working for the same people, guys. I wish you guys could wake up and understand that all of this talk about rainbow this and uniting and coming together. You guys don't get it. So these Africans are going to come in, tempers are going to flare, and there's going to be multiple incidents of physical violence. And I told you in the last video, the West, or white monopoly capital, is going to fund the black foreign nationals in this war and give them weapons, provide them with training, and provide them with funding to fight against black South Africans who are unarmed. We don't have weapons. Some groups do independently, but they've made it very difficult for us to get licenses for weapons. So if you do have a weapon, chances are it was smuggled in and you have an illegal firearm, which that's the kind of situation they want to put you in to make people scared of obtaining a means to protect themselves, because getting a license here is almost impossible and very racist. So they want white people to legally be in possession of firearms to protect themselves, but not black people. Then they're going to bring foreign nationals to come in and then give them weapons and train them to do what? To genocide black South Africans. And it will not get media coverage. Black South Africans are going to die quietly and get slaughtered and get killed quietly. And our population is going to reduce and reduce, just like what they did to the Native Americans, the Aborigines in Australia, same thing. And our numbers are going to dwindle. Our numbers are going to drop. Our population, as far as the cultures that we know, the Zulu, Tonga, Xhosa, Venda, drop and drop. And the populations of the Igbos, Yoruba, the Nigerians is going to increase. The Zimbabweans, Shonas, and all that's going to increase. Malawians, Mozambicans, Zambians is going to increase. Ethiopians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, right? Indians is going to increase. And we're going to watch it happen while trying to hold on to our jobs and hold on to our education. We've bought into a system that's leading us nowhere. You've had 30 years to see that this system is not leading you anywhere, but you still are talking about let's vote and like politics and this, bullshit. All of these political parties are complicit. They all just want a piece of the pie. The entire system has to be destroyed. Look what I keep telling you. Traore with Burkina Faso had to stage a coup to save his people. A military coup. So, guys, you have to shut down the country. I'm going to say it again. You must shut down South Africa. You cannot win with the current state of affairs participating in the system that is designed to increase the wealth gap, designed to keep white people in charge of you and make you their workers. That's slavery. It's just rebranded. We have to, guys. When will it take? See, the problem is it's the selfishness of like, as long as I'm good. How long are you going to be good for until it gets out of hand? Because you guys are waiting until it affects you directly, and it's coming. The day is coming, and by the time it gets to you directly, it'll be too late. I'm telling you right now, we need to come together and organize ourselves and push back against what's happening. By first, we must shut down all industries in the country, including the schools. Guys, we are a majority population for now. If we don't use that power that we have to shut down the country, we're fucked. This is why they're bringing in illegal foreigners by the truckloads, and white people are training them in jobs to replace you. They're bringing them in. It's a crime syndicate. It's organized crime, guys. It's deliberate. They're bringing them in the millions, and they're training them to replace whatever you are doing. On the farms, they're hiring black illegal foreigners, white farmers. That's what they're doing. They're not giving these skills to train black farmers. They're giving them to these foreigners from Zimbabwe and all these other countries. Zimbabwe tried to kick out white people. Now they're begging for them to come back. Why? Because white people hit you with sanctions. I told you that economic muscle is the new form of slavery. That's how they oppress you now. They don't have to hold a gun to your head. They just use the system that they've created and that you've bought into to oppress you. And I keep telling you, this system that we're living in must be destroyed. They're going to keep, Rob Herzog is going to keep pushing that capitalism is the best way and free markets. And yes, because that is slavery 2.0. They've just rebranded slavery. Of course, these guys believe in it because it gives them control, more control over your actual government than your actual country has over the people. They have more control over people that way. That's why they push for it. White people are not trying to unite. They don't love you. Hey, hey, wake up. White people don't love you. They never will. They don't love you. Stop fiending for their love. Stop begging for them to accept you. Stop begging for them to love. They don't love you. They never will. I don't care how many white people you try to have sex with or date or try to beg to marry. Guys, they don't love you. Their race will always come first because all of them, in their heart of hearts, believe that they're superior to blacks. Asians are the same. Asians believe they're superior to blacks too, but they worship white people. Ah, those ones. Imperialism has brainwashed them, finished them. They see themselves below white people, and they see blacks as below them. So we're gonna react to these videos. Shout out to the YouTubers that are highlighting this crisis that we have in the country that's going on. Guys, share this with everybody. Let everybody know what's going on so that we can organize ourselves. Because for you to continue on as if this system is okay and that you are lying to yourself, and to continue with this selfish mentality of as long as I'm good, guys, at some point it'll catch up to you. And I'm telling you, if we don't become proactive, this is our problem. We're not a proactive people. I don't know why. We've lost that. We must be proactive. Do you know how to make a petrol bomb? Can you gain access to weapons? Guys, the honeymoon of post 94 is over. We must deal with this reality now, which is the neo-apartheid, neo-colonialist era. We have to shut down this guy. Stop it. You guys must understand that when I say shut down the economic and political system, this entire country must be shut down. We must run an entire coup d'etat. You cannot be worried about education and your degree and this and that in their institutions where they're just brainwashing you and your children. You're worried about a job through industries that they've built to continue the oppression from the past. You're worried about that? I'm saying all of this must be destroyed. We need to start from zero and rebuild ourselves as a nation from scratch. Our own policies, our own leaders, our own government system. From scratch. And whoever wants to partner with us will partner with us. But even outside of that, guys, if it means going back to our hunter-gatherer days and living off the land, so be it. Until we look at the Khoisan are still living off the land. They're still farmers. They're living off the land. You guys are too big. You're too proud to go back to. I'm saying whatever it takes for us to regain our sovereignty and to be in control of our land and its minerals. If it means we have to die for it, then we die for it. Rather like die in dignity than to die the slow, undignified death of cowardice, where we're scared. You know, sometimes I feel like giving up on you guys because I'm like, you guys don't have this fight in you, man. You don't have it, bro. You guys don't want to fight. You want to continue living this life that white people, because you think that this is the best you can do as a black child. Whatever the white man, the crumbs from the white man's table are the best that you can do. We have such a low self-esteem, such a low self-image that we believe that this is what's best for us. Because we went to their universities now, but when it's time to fight and do things that are practical, that show your loyalty to your race, all of a sudden, now you're duplicitous. You want to talk on the white people side and say, oh, but it makes sense. Let's also look at how the DA, you don't understand what's going on. And I see, if you're younger, I understand. You've been brainwashed. If you're older, you have no excuse. Wake the fuck up. When you're taking sides with white people, you don't understand. White people never compromise. They're not taking sides. They're not taking our side. They're not trying to understand our perspective. But we jump through hoops. We work so hard to understand their perspective. We'd rather turn against our own people. This thing is not about right or wrong. It's about black and white. There, I said it. Yes, I said it. It's about black and white. It's not about right or wrong. If you don't protect your people, you will go extinct. They will wipe you out like they've done every other native population. Go study your history. Black South Africans will not exist 50 years from now, 100 years from now. They're going to wipe us out. true Black South Africans are not going to exist. You'll have colored people, you'll have Indian people, you'll have white people, and a bunch of foreigners from all over Pakistan, Bangladesh, all over Africa. And then when they're done with those people, they're going to drive them out. When they've developed this country enough to where they are satisfied, they're going to drive them out like what Trump is doing right now. Same playbook. I'm telling you what's going to happen. And you're going to still continue to buy into the system. You're going to go to your 9-to-5 job. You're going to go to your school and buy into a system that is designed to destroy us. You don't want to sacrifice anything. You don't want to lose anything. But the thing you're holding on to is not even worth holding on to. I'm trying to tell you, we have to convince Blacks to stop holding on to the crumbs from the master's table and fight for something that makes sense. And yes, that means you're going to have to sacrifice your life for it, so that there's a chance for future Black generations to live, because they're trying to genocide. We're in the midst of being genocided. They're genociding Black South Africans right now. But the media is going to claim white genocide, and the media is going to claim xenophobia, that Black South Africans are Afrophobia and they're trying to kill foreign nationals. They're only going to report on when we retaliate against the attack. They won't report on and that's what a narcissist does. That's how you know white people are narcissistic. They're not going to report on the fact that we are being genocided and oppressed as Black South Africans. They won't report that. The truth is there's a Black genocide in South Africa of Black South Africans. And it's happening in a very systematic way. Population replacement is a form of genocide. We're being replaced. We're being wiped out. They're using these foreign nationals who don't have fingerprints, that don't have IDs, to fight their battles, funding them, giving them money to assassinate us, to sell drugs to our people, to open spaza shops to sell poison so that our people can be poisoned with the food they eat. These are forms of genocide. Spread this message. If you hear this, spread it. Let everybody know. Don't let YouTube win, because YouTube is trying to make sure that my channel is suppressed and this truth doesn't get out. But anyway, I'm now giving you the background of how the white ruling class are using Black immigrants and foreign nationals to replace Black South Africans. Now you understand, right? So now when I show you these videos, I'm giving you the examples. This is the evidence. If you go on TikTok or Twitter, you will see many more of these types of things that are taking place where people are recording what's going on in the country. I'm not very active on social media because it's a dangerous, dangerous place. But every now and again, I will engage for the purpose of extracting information and examples that can help other Black South Africans understand that we are under siege, we are under attack, we are under invasion. They're trying to wipe us out. We are experiencing a Black genocide. And this is what white people did. They pushed the white genocide lie first, so that when we Black South Africans retaliate against the white genocide, then they can claim, you see, we told you that they're trying to genocide white people in the country. Hey, batala chess, guys. And unfortunately, we're not. And our so-called fellow South Africans, there's an American military base called Botswana. Botswana has already betrayed us. Botswana has already shown us that they're siding with the West. They don't give a fuck about South Africans. I'm talking Botswana in the country. Politically, they've already aligned themselves with our oppressors. Anyway, let me I'm going to play a series of videos for you guys. This is from a YouTuber called maybe it's on Mzansi Varsity. So Mzansi Varsity, I'm going to play two clips for you guys. Avatar. Hold on. I'll come back to that video. It's not yet. I'm going to play that later. Let's play this one.
Sanibonani, guys. As I'm the only one yini osekhathele, like ngikhathele.
Yeah, you can hear
tired,
people are overwhelmed.
Yeah, like I'm up to here.
Let me increase the volume for you guys.
Ukuthi njalo on every single social media platform that you're on as a South African, uzoqhamuka umuntu okufika from another African country.
Yeah.
Akhuluma ukweyisa nje akudelele.
Yeah.
Tell you you're lazy, tell you don't have a
You got to ask yourself, who's emboldening them to come to South Africa as illegal immigrants to speak like this to the native population? Yeah. So, yeah, the boldness comes from the fact that they know that the system is supporting what's going on right now. And these so-called brothers and sisters don't give a fuck about Black South Africans. They're happy to replace us.
Father, tell you ukuthi they are not going anywhere, izwe labo leli. Bakudelele nje, you know, bakudelele because inkulu lento abayithembile yabo, inkulu, and yabo, it's come to a point where I'm no longer going to be blaming uhulumeni wethu ngoba nathi sihlala nabo labantu. Angithi nini enibaqashisayo, nini enibanika iy'ndawo zenu zokuhlala, nina eniba-accommodateayo, nina enithulayo futhi uma ngabe niyabona ukuthi bathatha emsebenzini, athi umuntu ngikhishwe umuntu waseZimbabwe, for example, emsebenzini bengisebenza, uthule nawe and not say or do anything about it. But mina personally, I'm up to here. Akekho umuntu ofika ezweni lomunye umuntu afike amdelele, ameyise, amweye, akhuluma ukweyisa. Thina indaba thina njalo yonke into nje la kuthina iyayiwela nje. Wonke umuntu ofuna ukudelela nje la kuthina uyazidelelela nje. Like it's as if nje abasiboni nje, asiyilutho nje, yabo. And the minute, I'm telling you, the minute to myself,
the truth is, Habarabon, Habarabon got next. They don't respect us because they understand what's going on. They're a part of a criminal syndicate to replace Black South Africans. So of course, Batogatel. Of course, Batogatel. And they're even bold enough to go on social media and profess openly that they're selling drugs in the country and they're like, come get me, come arrest me. That tells you that these people don't fear South African law. They don't fear the military. They don't fear the police service. They don't fear border patrol. They know everything can be bought with a bribe in South Africa. Because you got Black South African sellouts that have strategically been put in these positions to do what they're doing.
South Africans asefike la esekhathele khona kuyobe kugijima bonke bethi xenophobic. Abayisho bona lento abayenzayo ukusichubuluza, yokulokhu besidelela, yokulokhu besiprovoke, bekhuluma ukweyisa nathi noma kanjani, yabo. Ngoba phela at the end of the day alikho ilizwe kuthiwa kwenza umathanda nje nabantu bakhona fanele bathule. Indaba thina kuthiwa fanele sithule, abantu benza umathanda nje. Ngobani? Like ngobani? Guys, kusasele iy'ngane zethu nathi lila, yabo. Asikho thina busy emazweni awo wonke umuntu, sila ekhaya silwela izimpi zethu zokuthi nathi sifuna impilo engcono. Uzwe abantu bethi bafuna ukusuka emazweni abo ngoba bethi bezofuna impilo engcono. Thina siyithathephi-ke impilo engcono, guys? Uma nonke nizofika la niba amamiliyoni nithi nizofuna impilo engcono, bese phekwa lokho futhi nifuna ngendlela e-wrong, ningene la illegally. Phekwa lokho bese niyasidelela futhi thina. Ave nisidelela, hey ave nidelela, kaze nisithatha besibindi sokusidelela kangaka. Niyeyisa. Yabo ngendlela eniseyisa ngayo.
Yeah, I mean, she's right. You cannot be in the country illegally. First of all, you're in the country illegally. Then you have the nerve to be disrespectful to the native South Africans. When I say native South Africans, I mean Black South Africans, because remember, you got Afrikaners labeling themselves as native people of the South African land. Oh, bro. Can you imagine if we started calling, we should do that. Guys, let's start calling ourselves Afrikaners. We're going to start calling ourselves, because Afrikaans or Afrikaner just means African. Can you imagine? These guys not only stole our land, they stole our name or the title that, we're known by. They said they're the Africans, but we're going to call ourselves Africans to completely displace and disenfranchise them. We're going to call ourselves Africans. We should, from now on, start calling ourselves Europeans and calling ourselves Afrikaners. Just to fuck with them, just to mess with them and say, no, we are Europeans, we are Afrikaners as well. We are Afrikaners. We are Bura. And we're Xhosa and Zulu and all these other things. We just take all the names. Because it's done as a slight. It's done to disrespect you. So I come into your home, steal your shit, and then I take your name. Sure. All right, guys. We've been disrespected, and we've allowed it. Now you got these foreigners that have been given the template by white people, because we've allowed white people to remain on our land. So everybody else is going to come and disrespect us. They're going to do the same thing. You guys you think you can avoid war. Okay, avoid it at your own peril. You're still going to get wiped out either way. You're going to get wiped out either way, because this life, understand what life is about. Life is not about these industrialization and these buildings these tall buildings we work and live in. No. Life is a jungle, and the rules of the jungle apply. You cannot avoid physical violence. This is why the feminist agenda lied to so many women to make them think that life was about, oh, if I can do the same jobs as men and earning the same money. No. Men are in the positions that they are in the world today because they are willing to fight for shit. They are willing to fight for shit. They're willing to fight for things. So that's why men are in power. Men will oppress whoever to obtain power.
I think
So this feminist thing is a big lie. It's a big scam to basically cause division between men and women of the same race. That's all. They're just putting a battery in your back to cause you guys to self-destruct. That's all that's going on, man. These same people that are talking about these things, they don't live by them. Hold on. Anyway, yeah, so I'm trying to tell you, like, I'm trying to let you know that all of this feminism thing is designed to make women fight against their men, the men of the same race. So now those men have more to worry about. They've got the white oppressor to worry about, and now they've also got their own women that are fighting against them. I tell you guys, white people play chess with you guys. And you get your self-esteem from being validated by white people. You hear Mandisa Mashego talking about, yeah, white people actually prefer to work with black women rather than black men, causing division. What black men. But tomorrow, when we go to war, who must take the front lines? Because you guys don't understand that life is a jungle. You've been gassed up to believe in this civilization that white people have created, a rigged system that they've created to push slavery, modern slavery. And black women can't wait to be the house Negro to a white man, a white master. I like how Khumalo put it. He said black women, they only listen to three people: their sangoma, their Nigerian pastor, and their white boss. That's it. So how can we can't lead a society if we're in a situation like that as black men? Because you got our own people fighting against us. Hey, Kansani, we have to take the front lines, and it must be us, the men. We have to do it. So all of this, oh, we want equality, equity, bullshit. This life is a jungle. You as women must align yourselves with men that can protect you. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And yes, we also as black men must take our place and protect our women in society, but stop fighting against us. When this is the shit we're really dealing with, real shit, and our family system and structure is completely broken. So it becomes difficult for us to organize ourselves to fight against all this oppression. Anyway, but we're gonna get it back. We're gonna get it back. The point I was making is life is a jungle, guys. Don't be fooled by the buildings and the schools you go to and all the ceremonies that make you feel like, yeah, we're very sophisticated and civilized. We are not civilized. We are savages. All of us. Savages. And by the strictest definition of what a human being is, let me not go there. I think Nota already explained to you guys the difference between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. So I'll leave that alone. But you can go read books on this. Nota didn't come up with this. You can read books on it that explain to you what we're dealing with here. right? And I'm not saying Black people are immune to violence. No, of course we do the same thing, right? But maybe not to the same scale where we like what white people have done. They've made a system and organized a system of oppression, right? So, but anyway, we shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves as Black South Africans, right? Why do I keep emphasizing Black South Africans? Because we are more aligned ideologically than all the other people that are in this country that are foreigners, including whites. Black South Africans. I wish I could put colored people in the same category, but they are working against us. They'll be the first people to pick the white side when that time comes, or they'll just stick with the colored side. They're not trying to unite with Black people, even though they are a result of the crime against humanity that was colonialism and apartheid. They are a result of that. Indians, we already know how racist Indians are, so we can forget about that. They hate Black people. They will do anything to exploit Black people to become rich. And Indians, remember, because of apartheid spatial planning, they were given a much higher status in South Africa than Blacks and coloreds. And they're still carrying that sort of chip on their shoulder till this day, where they feel like they're superior to Blacks. So you're not going to get any support from them. We, the native people of this land, we're not going to get support from the colors. We're not going to get support from the Indians. We got to figure this thing out by ourselves. It starts with us. So let's continue. People are tired. You can hear, like, how do foreigners have the audacity to come into our country and disrespect us in our own land? Because white people have shown them how to. That's why.
Sihlelisane kahle niklini endaweni hlala kuzona uklina kungcolile aninayo nje le attitude leyo ukuthi ningcono nizosikipha mhlambe ngabe kuhleliwe mhlambe ngaba yikho inkingi but i-attitude yena enisinika yona yo guys ama-South Africans nani maningavuki manje ngeke nize niphinde nivuke yabo yonke bayenza kunina the time ukuzalwa ezeningane or ezeningane seyisebenza sezinezinto zabo bazobe bezenza kuzona awucabange yakhe ingane sefanele ibekezelele yonke lento ebezela times 5 ngoba phela izoba worse attitude yalabo izoba worse angeke.
Listen, it's already starting to happen. Black foreign nationals are being put in positions of power so that they can oppress Black South Africans. So white people are deliberately teaching them skills, putting them in position, empowering them to hold administrative roles within the municipality, within our schooling systems, so that they themselves can perpetuate this divide and start giving preferential treatment towards other Zimbabweans, other Namibians, other Nigerians. Well, I haven't heard much about what Namibians are doing. I hear mostly and see mostly Zimbabweans, Nigerians, Malawians, Zambians, Mozambicans, like that. That's what we're seeing going on in the country. About Ethiopians, Bangladeshis, Pakistanis. But they've already started using the power that they've been given by white people to further marginalize Black South Africans in their own country. And they're going to say, oh, this is revenge. Because you guys didn't want us to be here. You treated us badly. So now, you see how white people just use other Black sellouts to oppress the same racial group. They just use other Black sellouts to do it. So these guys have raised their hands and said, hey, white people, yes, you can use us to oppress Black South Africans. We're happy to do it. And we're not allowed to defend ourselves because if we do, it's going to be called xenophobic. Divide and conquer. White people have been doing this. Same playbook. It's happening again. But you guys want to wake up when it's too late and go into panic mode. You think your government is going to do anything for you. They are a part of the syndicate. Your government is actively working a part of this syndicate to replace you guys. They are safe in the suburban homes. They've been promised safety. We'll see if that will be followed through on. They'll probably get killed as well after white people are done with them. You guys don't learn.
Izibe ngcono baze basigibele ekhanda abantu baze basiphatha abantu kazi kwenzakalani eSouth Africa ngempela? Ikhona izwe elinje? Likhona izwe elinje? Abantu bakhona nje ama-citizens akhona nawo ahleli nje athula abuke arelaxile agitshela amakhanda kanje every day sizotshela ukusutha nokweyisa nokudelela. Yo hayi ngeke kwanele guys, it's enough. It's enough now. Sekwanele. Sesibekezele for far too long. It's enough.
You know, I agree.
And then this is another, just like a series of videos. Hey, guys, my spirit is down because I know what's actually going on and I know what it leads to, because we've seen it with other countries where white people displace people from those nations. You cannot sit down and negotiate with white people. They never want to compromise. You must make all the compromises for them. They never want to compromise. And we've been falling for this for how long now? Right? So I'll show you another series of videos. I will try not to speak too much on this unless I get completely triggered, in which case I will then. But let's go to this one now. Let's go to this one. So it says fake matric certificates, fake pay slips, fake degrees. And I think this is a show. We got a couple of these types of shows where, like, including the one Yakolani, where he's exposing what illegal foreigners are doing in terms of selling drugs and whatever. He almost got arrested. They opened a case against him for murder or some kind of violence. Or, of course, they're going to open a case against somebody that's doing something that is beneficial for Black South Africa. They don't want that. I'm surprised they even greenlit a show like this. I'm going to keep my eye very closely on these types of shows to see who's behind them and why they're allowing a good thing like this to reach the public eye. Because we need to be aware that we are being replaced with these corrupt foreign nationals who are coming in and, with the help of our government, faking all types of documents. I mean, think about it. You are here, you're fighting for this degree, and a person can just get a printout. You believe too much in the system. And I keep telling you guys, your belief in the white system is why we've been sang this lullaby to sleep, damn near to sleep, because you guys really believe that this system was created for equality. You don't understand what's really going on. But what as men, as Black South African men, you should be embarrassed that a Black woman, is now forced to put herself in the front lines and risk assassination, risk harm being done to her, because Lona, as Black South African men, you're too cowardly to stand up for the country. You're too cowardly to stand up for Black South Africans. That our women now have to lead the way. Lady Bari and Lady Chai, I'll tell you that. Straight up, Black South African men, Lady Chai. Lady Chai, you guys are cowards. You guys are cowards. Cowards. I don't know when we became so cowardly. In previous generations. Now all of a sudden, you guys you're soft. You guys got the soft life so much. Ninjas are out doing their nails and, like, you guys are soft. They're soft. There's no violence, there's no aggression in you, except when it's directed towards Black women. And even with the GBV thing, is it Black South African men or is it foreign Blacks that are doing this? Because we're getting the heat for it. But either way, Black South Africans, they're soft. You guys are soft as fuck. So we cannot allow our women to take the front lines like this and risk their lives, really. Irrespective of what, guys, whatever white people have tried to do to cause friction between our relationship with our Black women, we must overcome that thing. We must all humble ourselves and swallow our pride and stop being so egotistical and realize that if we don't stand together, we're going to get wiped out. So nobody wins in the end.
smoke. All right. I don't need to let cafe. I get me like our team certificate about the data. About the evening lava yellow. So let's say never get malus. Yeah. How what's like more meeting Murato at the Ufetele of Feletan? This is the way he says, Fellow Seleno, before that. Emma, Emma, you move in away. Oh, and some to make certificate 2000. Thank you for 50 Pelaeda. Are man. How are you guys? You guys? Listen, come on, so you know people come here and then they print illegal documents, and the guys, it's the law, it's not allowed. And I think people think I'm here to you cannot be printing documents that you are not meant to print. You can't. I can't get away now. But about to print some illegal documents more. So you work together. Because of Luna Liberacala Malu, second later, the certificate is a summit curriculum. But then, but let now print out more assembly. But then, print it out. Join a while
of them were undocumented foreign nationals that the province of KwaZulu-Natal arrested in the first 9 months in this past period, the previous financial year. There are many of them still we have in the province, and the only sad part is, as we arrest them, Home Affairs finalize the process of taking them outside the country, and some of them find their way to come back again, and we start the whole process again, and they go out and they come back again. It becomes a continuous problem that you have. Because there's no other penalty other than deporting them. So these 11,600 is more than the number of facilities we have in our police station, which are police cells. We can take about 5,000 people in our police cells. So this 11,000 is more than the capacity we have. The correctional facilities also don't have that capacity to be able to accommodate these numbers. So that's why the engagement that we're having with Home Affairs and through the judge president here, where she puts us together to try and find solutions of speeding up this process of deporting those that have been arrested so that they don't clog the system. Otherwise, we are suffocating as it were as a security class because we have so many undocumented people, whereas there's so many hardcore criminals that are hitting our citizens out there that we need to arrest and put them behind bars. The space we have is not enough to accommodate all this. So it's important for us to talk to each other within the cluster so that we find solutions. I must just indicate, during this period, we have lost police officers that were murdered on duty. I'm going to show you maybe later in terms of.
So far in the history of South Africa, illegal immigrants have really been a big
the government has declared that all the scholarship must be registered. They have been closed. There are those shops that have been closed, and also the street vendors had to close. What's going to happen to those mothers that are selling in school when this thing is coming back again?
In relation to our mothers, some of whom we know have supported families and have even produced graduates and out of the activity in selling in schools, a procedure will need to be followed as determined by the Department of Education to ensure that the food they sell to children pass certain standards, to ensure that it is healthy, there are no chances of any poison, because the history is telling us we have never had an instance of a child dying out of having bought the goods sold by our mothers in our schools, especially these are ordinary women who are South African, and I'm not being discriminative or xenophobic, but the truth is, the challenge we are experiencing emanates from spaza shop owned by foreign nationals. This has nothing to do with xenophobia, but it is the truth. And if you look at the mothers selling in our schools, basically these are South African women, and we have never had a
This xenophobia narrative that was pushed out was done so to make it difficult for us to defend ourselves without being labeled xenophobic, because they won't report the offense. The media will only report on the retaliation, which is deliberate. Now, listen, we have to be apologetic about defending ourselves against these attacks so that we are not labeled as xenophobic. Listen, guys, let them label you as xenophobic. These foreign nationals have been jealous of South Africans. They want to replace us. They are jealous. They don't have good hearts. They want to talk about African unity. They don't want unity. Why must we always be the ones to make the sacrifices for unity? For white people, we must make the sacrifices for unity. We must make the compromises for unity. Nobody else makes the compromises for us. Nobody's saying, let's sacrifice something to be united with Black South Africans. No, we must be the ones to compromise and allow people to live in our country and on a land that our ancestors have fought and died for. And now these foreigners must just come after fucking up their countries. They get to just come and enjoy the benefits of the bloodshed of our people. That's bullshit. And now this person is here. He's apologizing for something that is right for us to do, which is to defend ourselves. He says this has nothing to do with xenophobia. Now we are scared of this xenophobia label, which has been done deliberately to make us passive and not fight back, so that this overwhelming sort of overhaul can continue unopposed. That's what they want. They want us to shut up and allow ourselves to be genocided in our own country, in our ancestors' land. And if we allow that to happen without a fight, we would have failed them. But look now, the context is that we must be apologetic for defending ourselves, and we must stop apologizing for it.
a challenge because some of their children go to these schools. That is why they take an extra care that whatever they sell them is compliant with health standard. But the Department of Education, therefore, should set standard and regulations which they must comply so that they can be allowed to operate the business which they have been running for many years.
It's a service delivery pandemonium here in the city of Tshwane, where Executive Mayor Nasiphi Moya is leading her executive and the administration and all officials of the city in this particular region. We're currently at Marabastad, where the city has identified the area as problematic and are here to conduct a service delivery operation, which includes not just by law enforcement, but in the very same breath, they are cleaning the waste in the streets. They are removing unregistered hawkers on the sides of the road. They are painting road signs, fixing